Can the good feelings I experience in meditation be a distraction from what I should be doing? Well, if you're not doing what you should be doing, then yes. What you should be doing. All right, so in meditation, you know, a lot of people come to meditation, spiritual practice, because their life isn't what they want it to be, and they want to feel better, they want to feel good. So when you meditate and you practice the pranayama techniques, or even the mantra techniques, or even inquiry, sometimes these surges of just feeling really, really good come about. All right? And what Roy has said, and what his teachers have said too, is that's fine to allow that to happen. But if you get so preoccupied with it that, say, the next day it doesn't happen, then you're like, well, what am I doing this for? Or what if for a long time it keeps going, but then, for the next few months it just quits. You ask yourself, well, why am I even doing this? All right. Well, you're not doing it to experience good feelings. You're doing it to be able to experience that seer, that witnessing presence, like we've been talking about. If you are obsessed with experiencing good feelings, then yes, it can get in the way. But it's okay to feel them, and then if you feel them so much that they sort of, that's all you're paying attention to, then what Roy recommends is going through that as well. I mentioned this before. When Roy was walking around with Yogananda one time, Roy said he never came to Yogananda with questions. He typically just wanted to be in his presence. And as they were walking around, Yogananda just said, oh, well, do you have any questions? And Roy said one just popped into his head. And the question that came out was, how many of the saints, how many of the sages that you wrote about in Autobiography of a Yogi, how many of them are completely, as far as you can do, spiritually realized, spiritually liberated? And he said Yogananda came right back. And he said, oh, not many. And he said he wasn't making a judgment. He was just saying what he saw. He said that so many people are content to hang out in God consciousness or the bliss of God communion that they don't go all the way. Being in the bliss of God consciousness, that's fine. But you want to go beyond that as well. You always ask, what is beyond this? What is... If you can experience the bliss of God consciousness, that means at one point in time you did not experience it, but all of a sudden it came out, it appeared. And remember, anything that can appear can disappear. So what you want to know is what sees this God consciousness. And that's what you're aiming for. So enjoy it, but go beyond it. I struggle with fear and anger and get easily agitated. What is missing from my practice? All right. Maybe the yamas and the niyamas are what's missing from your practice. And these are the early stages, or the foundational stages of yoga practice. And essentially, what they are is choosing a different way of being. So, if you get angry easily and easily agitated, what you need to do is learn to see that as not you. So one thing I recommend, and that I've done as well when I've gotten depressed or sad or irritated or whatever it might be, is I stop and I ask myself, is this me? All right, is this me? And more often than not, you will realize, no, this is not you. And you will realize this is just a mood that you like, that you want to indulge in for whatever reason, for whatever habit that you might have. And that might sound like I'm being sort of callous about that, but in my experience, anger, all these things, it's fun. Sometimes it's fun. And even being sad and depressed, I remember when it finally dawned on me, wow, I just like this, don't I? And it was when I realized that I liked it that I could stop and I could change it. So first of all, you can ask, is this me? And do your best to possibly admit to yourself that no, it's not you. Okay, it's just a choice that you've made for some reason. And when people do things to you, or when things occur in your life that you feel trigger this experience, it's not the things that trigger it. It's only because it's within you. All right. That's why some people can experience negativity or negative states, and the worst things in the world can happen to them, but they don't get upset by it. All right. Why not? It's because they choose not to. What's missing from the practice is seeing that you are not it, and then secondarily, you need to choose a different way of being. So if you're angry, stop and say, look, I know I'm angry, and I know I've liked this in the past, but I don't really want to experience this right now. And so what is the opposite of anger? I don't know. What's the opposite of anger? Is there an opposite? What is it?
Joy.
Joy, right. So you decide, well, I'm just going to experience joy. I have absolutely no reason to experience joy because so-and-so pissed me off, but I'm going to do it anyway. All right? So by doing that, you are changing your habit. No matter what, you need to be in control of what you are feeling. So if someone makes you angry and you get angry, you've just given your control away. If someone makes you angry and you say, all right, that's fine, but I'm going to be joyful, you have to choose it. And it's going to feel really fake at first, at least it was for me. When I was in a sad mood and I had to tell myself, get over it, get out of it, I would go out and I would just smile and go for a walk and do things, and I still felt sad, but I was doing my best to change that. or anger, the same thing. And I found that the more I did it, the easier it became. And just like we talked last time about mastering your states of consciousness, the more you do it and the more success you have, the easier it becomes. Practice the opposite of whatever you're feeling that you don't want to feel. That's what's missing from the practice. And again, going back from last week, that's one thing that Roy Davis stresses often, that it's not just meditation, it's not just doing yoga and eating right, it's learning to accept responsibility for what you feel and then changing it because you want to change it. Go ahead.
There's a line of thought, there's a train of thought that when you have an experience where you're angry, you're upset, or someone does something to make you mad, it's not the other person.
Right.
They co-created that situation with you for
Right.
you to learn something.
Right.
Well, if I just decide to not experience that or go with that,
Right.
aren't I losing a lesson?
I don't think so. I know where you're coming from, and again, the reason I don't think you're losing a lesson is because what lesson are you really here to learn? You're really here to learn to know God and be joyful. That's it, really. In life.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me follow it up with one more train of thought and see if this helps. So, for example, everyone, at least in my experience, for a long time, when I was working in the alternative health community, I still am, but natural health coaching, they're always looking for a reason as to why they feel bad. Either so-and-so did something in the past, or it's my karma, or the stars, or my past lives, or whatever it might be. They're always looking for a reason. And here's what I found working with people. Once you find out the reason, they're going to find another reason. I'm just wanting to encourage you to quit looking for reasons to being happy and joyful, and just choose to be it, because there really is no real reason to be happy and joyful other than you just want to feel it. All right. The same thing with feeling sad and angry and depressed. There is really no reason that you feel that other than you have chosen to feel it consistently. So really what you're here to learn is to choose what you want. All right. To be a co-creator from yourself into life. All right. And picking reasons, that there is no end to reasons, just like there is no end to karma. And that's why it's recommended, don't worry about working out your karma. All right, get that out of your head. Rise above your karma. All right, that's the quickest way to do it. In the Yoga Sutras, by attuning your attention, we talked about this earlier, by attuning your attention with Ishvara through listening to Om, the Om vibration, it's a manifestation of Ishvara, that lifts you above karma. All right, because Ishvara is above karma. So when you are attuned to it and you are one with it, karma no longer influences you, and now you have a choice. And that's one of the hardest things to swallow, is that really you do have a choice. You want to not have, well, I wanted to not have a choice. I wanted to have all these reasons to be unhappy. So anyway, what's missing from the practice is choosing a different response. That's it. Until it just becomes natural to you. As natural as the anger is now. All right, Ishvara is whom or what? It's you. That's Ishvara. Ishvara is everything. Ishvara is the Lord of the universe, all these things. You can define it in any way you want, but ideally, Ishvara is this eternal witnessing presence which inspires, directs, and empowers the universe that you're experiencing. And that all comes from this state within you. It's not a state, it's you. What are good ways to remind yourself of your relationship with the infinite when things in your personal life are tough and you just don't seem to have the self-esteem? How does one heal oneself by gazing off through the spiritual eye? How do you practice this? All right, so 2 questions. So, what are good ways to remind yourself of your relationship with the infinite when things in your personal life are tough and you just don't seem to have self-esteem? Again, the whole self-esteem aspect of things, when things are tough, when you're feeling this toughness, when you're feeling this lowness of spirit, of energy, meditate first early in the morning. And just take a look at whatever you're seeing, whatever you're experiencing in life, and ask yourself, is this real? Seems a little existential here, but if you do it, if you can get in touch with how you feel about the situation that you're in, and you ask yourself, is this real? And you really want to know, you have to really want to know, is this real? You will find that something shifts within you, and you will not take it so seriously anymore. What it means is then you have the ability to make choices free of attachment, which will allow inspiration to come through.